Hello, Whitewater students. Rick Oling here again, your instructor for English. This is a video about the first writing assignment and the first reading assignment, and it is for English 101, 102, and 105, all of my sections. I'll try to keep this video shorter than the first one. The first writing assignment is called What Do You See Here? I posted it on Canvas. The instructions are under assignments. The PowerPoint itself that goes with it is a module on the home page. This is an ungraded assignment because I'm interested in what you see. I do not expect people to have taken classes on art and be able to know sophisticated art terms and all that. I'm interested in what you see. And the four works that I picked, I purposely chose works that I thought people could take a lot from them without having to research them in any way. If you want to look on the internet, that's fine, but it's not required. You write about one, 4 or 5 sentence paragraph or longer if you like. If you choose to write about more than one work, and that's fine, please write a separate paragraph for the different works. Yes, if you run into any problems, just send me an email. The reason it's ungraded is I really want to hear from you and what you see. I'm going to use this assignment to try to get to know students better and try to offset the remote distance teaching part of this, which is very new for me. This will be the first class in over 30 years of teaching where I'm not meeting students face to face. All right. The other assignment I want to talk about is the first reading assignment. And again, this is the same for 101, 102, 105. It is from Joyce Carol Oates, High Lonesome Selected Stories. It's a story called Golden Gloves. And yeah, Joyce Carol Oates is a disturbing writer. It just goes with who she is. Um, she never writes just to shock or to sell books or to disturb people, without any kind of justification or cause. She's a very thoughtful writer, and when she goes into dark territories, it's because before she even wrote the story, she thought about the subject. She's very, very compassionate, particularly towards victims. Although she does even have a novel inspired by Jeffrey Dahmer called Zombie, where she's not sympathetic to the murderer in the story. Quentin is she changes his name to Quentin from Jeffrey, but you can tell when you read it that the violence is not there to kind of you know just keep the reader turning the pages. She's always given long, serious thought uh, to every element of her story, and that makes for better discussion afterwards. So I think you'll like Golden Gloves, but I think you'll find it somewhat unsettling. Speaking of Joyce Carol Oates and our first meetings, I thought I'd go ahead and solve the mystery that I put out in the first video. I held up this copy of Blonde by Joyce Carol Oates. It's her longest book. It's 700 pages or more, actually. And there's a brand new edition of it out that gives away the mystery, right? Blonde is Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was born Norma Jean Baker in 1926 and died in 1962. Uh, I believe she died of an accidental overdose, not intentional, wasn't suicide. I also don't think she was killed, as some people like to believe. So why do I mention her here? Not just to solve the mystery, but because knowing that Joyce Carol Oates wrote a 700-page book about Marilyn Monroe is a little bit of a window into Joyce Carol Oates as well. Marilyn Monroe's face is familiar from countless places. Her movies are familiar. But after reading her book, I felt like I knew a very different Norma Jean Baker than the Marilyn Monroe who everyone felt they knew and they could recognize. It's a very inward book. It's a very spiritual book about the soul of a great artist. Um, yes, the movies that Marilyn Monroe starred in are kind of lightweight comedies. That's what Hollywood offered her. Yes, she became incredibly successful with that image. Um, but, well, here's a good example. Playboy magazine voted her the sexiest person of the 20th century, which may mean a lot to a lot of people. It's a fun fact. I can tell you one person who couldn't have cared less, and that would have been Norma Jean Baker herself, Marilyn Monroe. She would have done that giggly little laugh because she didn't like to be rude. But I suspect that inward, she would have resented once again being reduced to this rather one-dimensional image of sexiest person, right? Um, she was always aware that one of the problems with that image is that it was very fleeting, right? Uh, Youth passes, beauty passes, and she was a pretty deep individual. Now, she was a big reader. She loved literature. She loved art. And I mention that because that's somewhat surprising given her childhood. She never knew who her father was. She came from poor working class, actually, very marginalized situation, born in LA. And her mother was put into a mental institution when she was 8, and she was then in orphanages and foster homes. Uh, she was married off at 15 and a half, so she left school at 15. I find it fascinating when somebody who left school at 15 um, throughout the rest of their lives continues to read serious novels, look at art, um, even her acting itself. Even though the roles she was offered were quite lightweight, she studied acting and serious drama, including Greek tragedy, uh, with the hope that one day she'd be able to um, perform in roles that were more enduring, more lasting, and darker, sure, but also perhaps more profoundly moving than the comedic roles that she was given in her lifetime. And there were signs that things were changing. The last movie that she finished that she made was called The Misfits, and the role she had there was the most interesting role she had been given yet. So we'll talk about Marilyn this semester. She's a fun subject, but again, to reiterate the key things from this video, first assignment, what did you see here? Based on paintings on canvas, September 5th, midnight. And when you get a chance to get the Joyce Carol Oates stories, High Lonesome, the first one we'll be reading is Golden Gloves. I do think that High Lonesome, the Oates collection, is probably available as an ebook. I don't think it's available as an audiobook. So I don't think any of the books that we're reading this semester are available as audiobooks. So if this is a concern, let me know that separately through an email. Thank you. I'll see all of you quite soon. But I wanted to put this early information out for you.